Welcome back. On the last episode, I fixed the energy system. So let me restart this game. When you use your items, your energy goes down. When you end your turn, your energy goes back to its normal amount. I did a refactor to move the way a lot of the visual stuff is done out of the way a lot of the game logic is done. They were pretty tied together before I did that, so that's a good move in the long term. The enemies die when they have no HP, so they do one damage each turn. So now when I do end turn, I'm only taking one damage if I kill that guy. I'm not taking any damage. And show reward. So notice when they both die, it says loot. You found I should say spread attack, but it's cut off. Um, yeah, but this doesn't really work. When you collect it, you can keep clicking on it. That's not good. You should only be able to take it once. But before I do that, before I fix that bug, there's obviously a lot of things to fix still. It's very early. I want to write some tests around the different models that I have working. I'm not going to write tests around the view because hopefully the way the game looks will change as we get further along. But I do want to make sure I don't keep regressing and introducing new bugs, and tests are a good way of preventing that. I want to make it so that when you click this, well, it should probably bump you to the map, or it should. The important thing is that you can only take the reward once, and that it saves in the player. Right now, if you leave and come back, you only have your two items. That item didn't save on the player because the player gets regenerated every time you start a battle. So that's not good. And then yeah, that screen we saw, the next battle or continue. When you go to the next spot, there should be a different. It shouldn't be a hard coded battle. Let's for now we could still hard code it, but I just want it to be different so that we can start exploring how to change it up, because it will be very repetitive if you're doing the same thing over and over again. And here's a kind of a small thing I'm considering is that right now these items, you have to set the owner separately. And I thought like, well, maybe they won't always have an owner, but I can't think of a situation where you'd have an item. And worst case is you just set the owner to the game instance. Either the player owns the item or the game owns the item. But I don't like having to do an if check. Like, if this has an owner, then do a thing. They should have an owner by default, and clear enemies after the battle's over. So it's a little bit sloppy right now that they're still there. Why not just take them out? That's kind of a, I don't know if that's actually necessary, because I think they'll get removed when we go to the next screen. But might be a little bit cleaner. Actually, it's MVP. Let's not do that. Let's try to get these accomplished right now, because they already don't do anything when they're dead. So, you might want to eventually just change it to a different sprite. So instead of a live enemy, it'll be a skull, like a skull and crossbones, to show that they are not with us anymore. So, okay, testing battle.spec. Really, the ideal thing to do is to write tests before you start coding, but notice I tried that. I ended up having to delete a lot of work because I'm like, oh, of course, this draw discard mechanic should be on the player because the player is the one doing that stuff. Yeah, but it turned out not to make sense, and he needed certain context. So I kind of stick with sometimes TDD isn't the right way, especially when you don't, or test driven development is TDD. Sometimes I think it's not the best call when, well, when you have a lot of flexibility and when you don't really know what the end product should look like, you're still sort of exploring it. But I do think tests are kind of are a great way of saving the current state of the program. And I think the battle state, I'm not going to change it too much. I don't want to change it too much more. I want to make it actually a little bit harder to change if I want to change it because, uh, you're going to be nitpicking little things here and there. And the game's not just the battle system. There should be more. That's not the full game loop. So, yeah, let's shut up and start coding. Let's see. So I think the best way is to just sort of look at what's going on here. Oh, wait, not the view. We don't care about the view. All we care about is the spec. And let's start with the player. Sure. Actually, the player doesn't do much. I really neutered that class. The player is just tracking some attributes, and it's a character. But what we should do, I'm surprised the character doesn't have a draw pile anymore. I wonder, does it still pass? Ah, good. Okay. So actually, I broke it at some point. And then this thing about items, well, that shouldn't describe the player, should it? So the items are actually more complex than the player currently. So it might be worth item. And let's initialize two items, alpha and beta. And yeah, I completely changed the character. I did have to write these tests because I wanted to figure out how to do the like card draw discard thing in a smart way, and it was too hard to do it from the visual aspect. So I had to make this thing called a stack, or if you program, you might be familiar with that. It's essentially an array with a few extra operations on it. Well, an array. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it, but it is kind of the right way to handle this cleanly. So it made sense to do it then, but now we're getting rid of it. So it's too bad. Item constructor. Let's just do. I do want to keep this that they have a unique ID. Is that actually still important though, that they have a unique ID? Is that used anywhere? Discard item. Battle. Is that used? Discard item. Oh, it is. Oh, yeah, let's make sure. Yeah, and for now, it's just going to be expect a.uid. I think it's just sequential, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Uh-oh. Expected. Oh, you know why? Because all these are occurring still. That's going to be a bit messy. It'd be better instead of using a sequential number to do something based off like the name, but we can't have collisions in the unique ID because that would cause issues. Yeah, well, okay, for now, it's fine. I don't know, I'm jumping. I'm not done yet. Let's close the view and go to, we're doing the item. probably the the best way to get code coverage. Yeah, you just check all the methods on the class, and then it's kind of like you don't have to think as hard. You're just like, okay, do a test for this, do a test for this. Has enough energy. You know, this might not. I don't know if I want to test this yet because I'm gonna mess with the owner thing. But this play, you know, let's be efficient with our time here. Let's grab item.play. So, okay. Because this is important. Well, in that case, they need an owner. I should just set this now. I'm hesitant to do this stuff because I'm like, but they should have an owner. I don't want to set the owner after the fact, even though I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this first because I don't want to do all this work then have to redo it. Oh, but the idea is it'd be safer to do the test first and then change it. Which would show the benefit of test-driven development. Make a choice read. Okay, let's try doing it first. Doing the test first. Item.play. So now we need a player. New player. And then you have to do a.owner. Let's do it kind of like this. Attack, because we know these kind of work. A.owner. Attack. Heal.owner equals player. Alright, so when you play them, and then we're gonna do... I should just copy them from the view. Obviously, eventually this stuff should be, oops, view. Where's our attack equals? Here it is. Why write when you can copy paste? Okay, so eventually, so I'm talking about with this, I want them to have an owner on instantiation. Instead of just passing the name, you'd also pass in the owner, who'd be the player in this case. Okay. What was I doing? So I usually lose your train of thought with this stuff. Oh yeah, I was doing the play. So it can calls the function associated with the item, is what I'm calling it. Yeah, and on the items, they probably need to, right now every item takes 1 energy. You know, it's not that interesting. We should probably play with that number or make that dynamic. But simple stuff first. Expect attack.play. Oh, in that case, we need an enemy too. So we need someone to play it against. New enemy. I think you can just do that. New enemy. Item.play on the enemy. What happens when an enemy, I just want to see, do the enemies have base HP? Yeah. They don't, okay, so they start with 9. If the, if you don't set it, they'll have 9 health points. Oh, actually, let's just do this. Here's the fun way of doing it. Let's do enemy.hp equals 5. Enemy.hp to equal 4. Because it'll do 1 damage. Item.play. This may be a little bit more specific. It doesn't just call the function. We should do this. Here's an idea. Item.play. It does not trigger if the owner, and you know what? Let's just say the player. Let's be very clear. Who doesn't have energy? Play. Let's put HP in there. HP initial HP, enemy HP to equal this thing called attack damage. It's not changing anything, but just a little bit cleaner. Attack damage 1. Just to make these. Let's see if that still works. Expected 5, but actually it's 4. Attack.play. Expected 5 to equal 4. It didn't. Oh, maybe I need to do this. Maybe the player, yeah, because I think they happen sequentially. What happened was the attack wasn't played. Okay, so now let's do the heal as well. Heal.play. You actually don't need to pass a target for that one. Player.hp. Heal. Heal amount. Heal amount. This is a little bit tedious, but supposedly the new Copilot thing that GitHub put out that can really do a lot of this boilerplate stuff for you. I haven't tried it yet though. HP, player HP. Set to 5 as well. I just want to make sure the heal works as well. But item calls the function. Let's give them a different health so we know which one's failing. I'm pretty sure it's that one, and I'm pretty sure. Wait. Expected actual. Expected 60 equals 7. Oh, you do have to pass the target. I was wrong. Player. Yeah, because I'm like, oh, maybe you'll want to heal if I had some kind of ally system so you could have more than one. Imagine you could get like 2 allies who would do little attacks. Maybe you could heal them, you know. That'd be actually kind of a cool mechanic for the battles if you have allies. It's down the line though. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, so now I could screw with that owner thing, and yeah, I'd have to change the test, but the test would fail. Maybe I should just do that now. So yeah, I don't like that I'm getting this warning sometimes. Object is possibly null. I don't want to have to do that check. You know, just spawn them with I'll just spawn the items with an owner. Then I'll have to do that check 1,000 times is the idea. So that I actually need to change the code a bit. Where is so anywhere, the reason I was hesitating on this is because now it's freaking everywhere I do this. I should probably match the API that I'm doing with these guys, where you pass in a object with all the attributes. That's just, instead of remembering the order that you're passing these things in, it's sometimes a little bit easier to just do that and force you to say, the name is this, this is it, this is this, and then name is a string fn function name fn, and we're going to have the owner, and this dot owner equals owner. The owner is going to be the player. Should I call it the player is the other question. You know, I mean, is anyone else going to own? That's what I'm afraid of. I might want the items to be owned. So I'm just heating up my coffee. I might want the items to be owned by someone besides the player. Why would that be useful? Well, if I do this ally system and then I have them actually playing items, yeah, then that's AI, and that's a whole, or AIs. Then I have to really do a lot of stuff. But what about, what if the thing is, sometimes I want items to appear, but they won't be owned by the player. So for example, on the reward screen, sometimes I'm going to want these items. I'm going to want these items to show up, but they're not going to be owned by the player. They're going to be owned by the game at that point. So yeah, I'm going to stick with the terminology owner. Even though it's only going to be the player at this point, it makes it easy to change in the future. And I know there's the expression, you ain't gonna need it, but I just anticipate that I'm gonna have to do that. So, and it's not hard to add a new class to these. It's kind of like this with instance. Actually, I don't need this instance anymore. Clean that up. That was tracking the Phaser game sprite instance, which is now completely separate from this model. It's good. Okay, so how are we doing on time? It's been about 24. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so let's do this fix for, oh yeah, for the owner. Now it's hard-coded, so then we don't have to do this check anymore. If this dot owner. Okay. And let's find, why is this still, oh, okay, let's get rid of all these items. We're not describing the player anymore. So now anywhere that we have an item, oh gosh, this is gonna be a bit annoying, but it's okay because this is a refactor. Refactors are good. I'm gonna separate this function out. Attack function. This. Equals. Is that okay? I think that's okay. JavaScript is nice because you can. Oops, I don't want to get rid of that. So now we have this. We have the we have the attack name. We have the owner, which is the player. Oh wait, what am I doing? Oh yeah, that's fine. The owner is the player, which doesn't exist yet. And the other thing is the function. fn attack function. I don't usually like abbreviations, but I think it makes sense in this case. And we also have the heal function. Heal function, and yeah, these are fundamentally doing similar things, but I think this is better. Attack, name, heal, owner, player. Got a comma. fn, heal fn. Boom, boom, boom. Now we've got those. Come on, come on. And it blew up. Why'd it blow up? Player HP is used before its declaration. That's a problem. Instance of. Interesting. So at some point, we're using that instance, which is bad. Discard item. Let's get rid of this mention of the instance, because that's no longer done here anyway. I'm afraid that's going to break something though. Okay, so tests are passing. The question is, does the game still work? And no, it doesn't. The items don't show up. So let's fix it in the view as well. And that's expected to happen because we changed the API. I'm surprised it didn't. Oh, it is complaining. You see this? It doesn't know what the heck is going on there. Let me copy from here those functions. Shouldn't be too hard to fix though, thanks to TypeScript. And then I think these are more or less the exact same. And then eventually that's not going to live in the battle itself, of course, but I don't need these lines anymore. All that just to remove 2 lines. Abstractions. It's an abstraction. So the player needs to come before the items, which makes sense because, yeah, or the items owner is a better way of thinking about it. Oh shoot, that's a problem. You can no longer initialize a player with an items array That's fine. Eventually we don't really need those to be equals attack heal on the player anyway. Attack damage is not defined. I'm gonna just make these 1. Refresh, attack, heal, end turn, attack. Okay, looks like it's mostly working. So that wasn't too bad, as you know, maybe a 5-10 minute fix to save some sanity down the line. Always worth it. Always worth doing the little fixes early, if you have the time. And let's clean up this a bit. The view. So the player items, yeah, eventually these will live outside of the battle. For now, they're in there. Just checking the little red squiggles. These look okay. All right, cool. Am I happy with that? So I've got a few tests around items. I think that's fine. We don't need to go nuts with tests, especially at this point. Now what we need to do is test around the character. Might be a good call. So the characters, like the players, the enemies. So for example, oh, we don't need this crate anymore. That's a good thing about testing too. Finding all the pieces of stuff that I don't need. It's finished when you've taken away, I'm trying to quote, what's that quote? It's not done when it's finished, it's finished when you've taken away all the crap. Something like that. Leave a comment. What's that quote? Okay. So now we are testing the character. Oh, I want to get rid of the instance everywhere. Don't need the instance. I love not having to track the instance on the model. That was such a mess. Let's just use this guy to do the character. And what do we want to check on the character? I don't know. We could do these. This is so boilerplate. Describe. You could do the constructor. I don't usually test that. I don't usually test most things, which is bad. Damage. Let's just make a new. Foo equals new character. And you know what? We should change the API. We'll do it afterward. New character. We'll call them foo HP 2. Character HP equals 2. I think that's a good idea. Name. When it takes damage. You can't name them car. Character. Let's call that character dot damage. 1 expect character dot HP to equal character HP minus damage. Okay, let's do it. All right, that's pretty easy. Let's just do the other ones while we're here. Damage, heal. Yeah, it's a bit tedious, isn't it? Plus heal. And then I'm not going to check these helpers. don't really care to make sure those work. Oh. Insertion error. Expected +0. 2 equal 3. Oops. Character dot heal. I don't know why it looks so nasty. Usually it's like... Oh, because it took damage. There you go. I don't know why. It usually shows a nicer message than that. But, okay. I won't think too deeply into that. How much time? We're at about a half hour. Alright, that's good enough for the character, player, and the real thing that I should test is this battle. Yeah, like this draw, discard, because that stuff is pretty complex. Ah, I knew I shouldn't. Okay. Either I scrap that whole mechanic. I want that mechanic in the game, though, where you only see a few items at a time, and then they kind of reset. I just love that mechanic from Slay the Spire, so I'm keeping that. But that just means I need to... And now battle.add. Okay, fine. Describe. Could do draw hand, draw item. We're doing... This should be lowercase. Because it's going to be the instance that you're calling these things on. Well... Nah. We'll make it uppercase. Either all upper or all lower. Consistency is quite important. Because I guess you're talking about the base class, not an instance. Battle dot. Yeah, because this is where a lot of the logic is. So, alright, I guess let's just do it. It's so tedious. I'm like, this stuff works. Why do I have to write a test around it? Because it's the right thing to do. Draw head. Draw hand. It... pushes the next item from the draw pile into the hand. For now, let's just kind of mock these. That's one thing it does. What else does it do? It shuffles it discard pile into the draw pile if the draw pile is empty. Yep, that's one thing it does. Use this terminology. It does kind of push, whatever, push is the right term. Anything else does that do? It does those two things right now. Alright, what else do we need to describe? Describe battle.draw item. You know, if it's just doing this one thing, do I just move it in here to be lazy? Yeah, that doesn't. We're just gonna do that. Discard item. This is kind of a nasty thing right here, though. Like, there should be something called you know, if I'm going to split this out, I don't want to move that. I want to move this somewhere else so that it's clear what that's doing. So push. These refactors should come after the test, though. I'm like seeing stuff. I'll make a to-do. To-do, move this to its own method. Period. You know, and then you could describe that. Then you could do TDD. Battle dot shuffle. Yeah, that's what it would be called. Shuffle discard into draw. And we'll call this shuffles, because that's actually what I want to do long term. Some element of randomness to the battles, to every turn in the battle. Makes it more chaotic, because you never know what you're going to get. Discard item. What's that do? It moves the... Man, tests are taking... I thought I was going to get more done on this video. I forgot how long tests take. Because testing is crucial. Removes the item from its index from the hand. And puts into discard pile. Some people say you shouldn't do more than one thing, but come on. All enemies are dead. Players dead. I don't really care to test these Boolean things. Eventually I should. Like the update, you know, like this, I might move out of there. And also, the other thing that I'm thinking of changing with this battle. So, I mean, we need to change the API here so that, yeah, I'm thinking you put the player in the game. It's game.player, but I don't love that. So then we only access the player. So it would sit like game, player, battle. I should probably think about that a little bit more. Okay. Before I make any drastic changes, I should think about that more. Discard item. End player turn. End turn is kind of important. Should verify that that you discarded all of your cards. Start turn, for example, should make sure that the player resets. So for example, this is like a good test. Good unit test. You know, when this stuff becomes super tedious, it means you should probably take a break soon. I just want to get the bare minimum tests. I mean, yeah, it should also draw the hand. So we're gonna need player and all this stuff. All right, this is a to-do. Draw hand. Shuffles the discard pile into the draw pile. Okay, so so that means the player, so we have to trigger that. So battle, draw hand. The player needs some items for this to work. Let's give the player one item. Item equals new item. Can I just do nothing? Do I have to give it a name? Name foo owner is the player. We're not. Are we actually going to play them? We should try not to. Okay, so now we have the item. Player.items equals item. I don't love that. It'd be nice to automatically insert it when you set it, but for now that's fine. Battle.drawHand. Oh, do I need to give it player.num cards to draw equals 1. So draw hand. Then we need to player.play. Oh, okay, that's fine. Player dot. Oops, not player. We need to do item.play. So the player should draw one item, play it, and then we expect it to go into the discard pile. See, that's what I'm talking about. This logic is too complex for the current state of the game. I should have just made it so you have remove this whole system and you just click whichever one you want, either attack or heal. So it's more like a basic game. But you made your bed, so sleep in it. So you have to sleep in it. How are we doing on time? Still got. I can still work on this. Okay, expect. Let's see. Expect the discard pile. Discard pile dot pop. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Shuffles that thing. So we expect the. I don't know why I put quotes there. That's what's confusing me. Expect the. Can we do battle.draw? Expect. Well, actually, at this point, discard pile. So after they play it. This is testing too much, though. You know? I don't like this. You see, that's how you know you have a bad method. If it's confusing to write a test for it. That's how you know that the method is doing too many things. You know? Draw hand, expect battle.hand. You do this to equal 1. Here's how you actually do it. Dot length. Okay. Discard. It's not amazing, but it does something. Removes the item from. So yeah, I want to refactor this before. It's too complicated what it's doing here. So I need to make this shuffle this thing. The shuffle function. If it's empty. Do this. And yeah, set that. do. Yeah, I'm not doing a check. That will always, so because of this check, this red squiggle is actually, is there a quick way to ignore it? Because I know it will always check to make sure. Whatever. Okay. Shuffle, discard. This is doing that. So let's just test that guy. Oops. So yeah, this is gonna be much easier. So all we have to do is say this dot or battle dot discard pile equals this dot push item. That's how you do it. Push an item into it. Battle dot shuffle that. Expect battle dot discard pile. Draw pile. Dot length 2 equal 1. This may have broken the other test though. Let's see. Yeah. Push the next. Let's get rid of this. If I remove that stuff. Shuffles the thing into the thing. Discard pile dot push. Shuffle it. Dot draw pile. Which one's failing? Shuffles the discard pile. What? Oh, draw hand is failing. So we're pushing an item into the discard. Oh, here's your problem. Wait. Length. It's just a function. It's not an array. It's not directly an array. Yeah. So this draw pile is a stack. It's not an array. Array is dot length, not a function. This one is. So that tripped me up. Which means I'm probably getting a little bit tired. Push the next item. Yeah, that seemed to work. Discard item. All right, just 2 more. Power through. Removes the item from the hand and puts into discard pile. Removes the item. Okay. Battle dot discard item. Oh, I got rid of that. Oh no, I didn't. Damn it. And you pass the item. Discard pile. These tests are like pulling teeth sometimes. Should now be in the discard pile. Okay. Seems to be working. Start player turn. We could check that it draws the hand, but why not? It draws the player's hand. It does 2 things when you start a player turn. Expect player dot energy to equal player dot max energy. Draws the player's hand. Expect battle dot hand. Oh, I forgot to call the thing. Battle dot start player turn. This is how it should be. Hand. Is the hand? just an array. I think it is. Yeah, it's just an array. It's not a stack, which is kind of weird. That's going to be annoying to remember. To equal player, or to equal 1. Did I do everything right? Now, start player turn. What didn't it do? It resets the energy. Let's say, just to make sure this is working, you should actually be doing red tests, red, green, so you fail it, then you pass it to make sure you're not cheating. Oh, whoops, I have to do this before start their turn. Draws the player's hand. It's still 0. So why is that? Start player turn. Well, whatever. That should be tested in the draw hand anyway. Lazy. Or just removing that test. Okay. Battle. Enemy. Seems to be working. We got battle tested. We got enemy tested. Man, I was hoping to get through a lot more in this video. We did these two things. We're enforcing that items have an owner, and we are testing the various model methods. You know, you can't always get what you want. On the next video, or the next time I'm coding, we will add these two doodads. So what have we accomplished today? Well, actually, whoops, let me move them back. And we will remove that. Here's how I'm going to arrange these nodes. We'll get rid of that, and then we'll do to do here. Boom. Okay, so we got the tests, and we are enforcing that items have an owner, so we don't have to do, you know, if the item has an owner, do it. We can just always assume that it has the owner. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.